Hello. Today we've got another type of body scan for you, and in this context I'm using it for travel and relationships and these interactive dynamics, but you can really use it for any situation in your life. There's lots of different ways to do body scans, and I feel like they're different every day as I go to practice them, depending on how much I'm practicing body scans, which types I feel like I need. So this one's coming to you because I've been traveling a lot lately and bouncing from place to place, and I feel like we're social animals and it's really valuable to be able to honor those interactions and those ecosystems that we're all part of. Whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, we're all interacting and we're all engaged and related to each other and also influencing each other as we go from day to day. So if we're traveling, we can notice the different cultures, the different values, the different ways of interacting, the different foods, all of these different dynamics. And there's such a rich ecosystem that happens in each country, in each region, that they're all unique in their own way. So what I'd like to do today is give you a practice where you can check in regular periods of what's happening for you, what you're carrying, what you're bringing to a situation, what you're receiving from a situation. Is there any filtering or processing going on in between? And just really allowing us to open up and be sensitive and feel safe enough to just feel and really get the finger on the pulse of what's happening for us emotionally. And a great example of this is in the last few days, I've been staying at different families' houses, and there's been this show that's come up from time to time, which is called Peric here in Serbia. And I'm sure it doesn't reflect everyone in the Balkans. It's a particular show where there's kind of like a Big Brother style reality show with more people. And I haven't seen much of it, but from what I've seen, they seem to sit around and argue a lot. And there's a lot of ingrained, what I perceive as violence in that. And for me, I'd like to just clarify that. For me, violence is an internal state where there's the perception of I, who is one side of an interaction. And then there's one or more other perceived others in the interaction that is all happening in the mind. And this violent interaction is like one trying to dominate or attack or somehow, whether it's passively aggressively or complete dominance or destruction even, is trying to be better than or trying to impose itself on the other perception of the others. So you've got these internal figures and like this internal game, like a computer game, that then may or may not get acted out in verbal interactions. It may come out in passive-aggressive behavior. It may come out in aggressive verbal behavior. It may come out in physical violence. But it's all violence at its heart to me. And what I see in this reality show is a lot of violence, and that's the way it feels for me. It feels like violence, and I feel kind of a bit repelled by it. So what's happening emotionally is I'm feeling like almost attacked, or just it's just like a foreign vibration that I'm not resonating with. For me, I resonate with kindness, compassion, laughing, fun, collaboration, cooperation, creating and empowering and really prospering and thriving together and sharing these experiences. And that's what my heart feels guided to. That's what I feel passionate about. And it's like this reality show is like the opposite of that feeling. What it feels to me is like an attack of violence, and I just feel repelled by it. I want to get away, and I want to, and there's even this animal reaction of wanting to defend myself. So I've noticed that, and I've felt, sometimes I've asked to change a channel or to just turn the TV off and have a conversation. There's been a lot of different dynamics with it, and it's just very, very interesting. And I can understand how it can be addictive to watch this kind of thing. It can be like watching a train wreck. And at the same time, I don't know if the people who are in the show are actually just playing along for the cameras. It may just be something that they're not really fully engaged with. I feel that if I'm even playing the role, I'm feeling it a bit, and it takes a toll on what I'm feeling emotionally. And so I don't know. And that's the key for me when I bring compassion to that kind of thing. I'm experiencing this situation. I don't know what's happening at the other end. I don't know if this is something that's just normal for them and they grew up this way, and there's a myriad of different potential causes or situations that may have adapted and then adapted and then adapted to lead to that situation now. I don't know. And compassionately feeling and empathizing with that, I can feel like, okay, I may want to make a difference. I may want to contact them and engage with the TV station. I don't know whether that's actually a constructive use of my time. I don't know whether the language barrier would get in the way. I don't feel guided to do that right now. I feel like my plate's full with my priorities, and I can love them and just let them be on their path and not really get too attached into changing them, which can be another one of these interactions that are in the mind as far as me and the other, and thinking that I need to make the other normal or my perception of normal. So this is all details that can come up when we can practice mindfulness, and when we can be aware of what's happening for us. And with practice, we can do it in the moment. But to build up that practice, we can do seated sits where we meditate and we actually do body scans and start to be aware of what's happening with our emotions. And last time we did a breath-based body scan. This time I'd like to use the hands and really dive into the details of what's happening in the parts of the body, using the hands as an anchor or a guide. So putting the hands down on the legs, we can bring our awareness to what's happening in those legs. You know, getting into all of the subtleties of what's going on there. That could be the emotions, it could be tension, it could be looseness, it could be some kind of discomfort, it could be some twitchiness and eagerness to get off our seat and go and do something, any number of things. So this is the practice that I'd like to share with you today. So what we're going to do is just bring our hands down to our legs, close our eyes down, relax the shoulders, and just with the awareness of where your hands are touching, where they're making contact with the legs, just noticing what's happening there. Is there any emotion, any details? Allow the body to breathe deeply but naturally, keeping your focus on those hands and their contact with the legs, anything that's happening inside the legs. Bringing those hands to the hips, same thing, staying with that awareness in the hips, noticing any tension, looseness, any movement, any emotional sensation. Bringing those hands up to the belly, noticing the details of what's happening there. Opening to it. And now bring the hands up to the chest. Noticing any movement, any details in that chest. Making space for everything to be felt through the whole of the chest. Now moving the hands up to the neck, noticing what's happening in that neck from moment to moment. Bringing the hands up to the face. Slowly relaxing. Noticing what's happening there through the jaws and the cheeks. Bring the hands up to the head, the top of the head. Noticing what's happening there for a minute. And just relaxing your hands down. Taking a few deep breaths and opening up to the whole body. Just allowing this moment to be felt as it is. And now slowly coming to some long, deep breaths. Giving yourself any stretches, any movement the body's asking for. And slowly in your own time, opening your eyes up and coming back to the space. So that's another example of a body scan meditation that can be really useful to just build that habit of being sensitive and aware. And you can do more long drawn out versions of that practice where you go in fine detail through the body, and the hands can help to keep that focus and attention in specific areas. And also you can then speed it up and start to do it faster and dance around, like having the practice of legs, stomach, head, knees, hands. And maybe we'll do another more in-depth practice of that, because it's really fun to be able to play with these dynamics of moving the sensitivity around and even holding two anchors, like feeling two things at once and staying with them. So yeah, we can play in a lot of different ways with this, but given the situation of emotional awareness and travel, I feel like this bookending the day at the beginning of the day and the end of the day with this kind of body scan can be really useful if we start to pick up things and carry things that we haven't consciously loved and let go or learned from during our process of traveling around. And it can also help us to savor and appreciate a lot of beautiful things and really, really engage with the moment as we're moving around and traveling too. So thank you so much for your time. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, please leave them in the comments below. If you want more videos like this, subscribe. Thank you so much for your time. Love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Mwah.